If you're feeling tired, sad, angry, numb, jealous of your past self, you need to hear this. You're not broken. You're not failing. You are just grieving, and allow the grief to come through. Grief is not a weakness. It's our human response to loss. Sometimes you even grieve when you get things you want, right? Any change doesn't have to be a negative change. It could be a positive change.
Hey, beautiful soul, and welcome to Dear Body, I'm Listening, the podcast for women navigating chronic symptoms, invisible illness, and that daily dance between hope and exhaustion. If you've ever been told it's all in your head, well, this podcast is for you because your body is not lying and neither are you. Hi, I'm Donna Piper, movement therapist, Pilates instructor, and chronic illness navigator. After years of being dismissed, misdiagnosed, and doing everything quote unquote right, but still getting sicker, I created this space to tell our truth. Here we talk about swelling, brain fog, nervous system crashes, and the kind of symptoms that don't always show up on lab results. We're going to explore lymph, breath, movement, self-trust, latest research, books, relationships, basically everything. All from a place of compassion and honesty. This isn't about fixing your body. It's about finally being heard and getting some answers.
Hey friend, running low? Me too. I'm Donna. This is Dear Body, I'm Listening. We're in it together. Hey love, welcome back to Dear Body, I'm Listening. Today we're talking about chronic illness grief, the kind that doesn't come with a funeral or flowers or the casserole train. It's the grief of stamina, the grief of spontaneity, the grief of waking up in a body you don't recognize and thinking, who is this and why is she tired already? If you've ever searched grieving my old body, chronic illness grief, identity loss with chronic illness, I don't recognize myself anymore. This episode is for you. And if you're listening and your brain is trying to hit you with this oldie but goodie, but you should be grateful, I'm going to gently take that should, put it in a box, and slide it under the bed for now, because gratitude and grief can live in the same house. They're just roommates who don't speak. So grieving and gratitude, wanting something that you don't have, and also be grateful for what you do have, is not mutually exclusive. Okay, let's go softly but honestly.
Real talk, no gloss, just us. Now let's dive in.
Here's what I want to say clearly. Grief, it doesn't mean you're negative. Grief means you're honest. When your body changes, your life changes. Not always in dramatic ways, sometimes in 1,000 tiny, weirdly humiliating ways. But here are some things. Canceling plans, again, needing more recovery time than anyone else understands. Watching your world shrink. Getting tired of explaining to yourself like you're giving a PowerPoint on fatigue. Feeling like you're always behind, even when you're trying your hardest. Having to nap after just a few hours with friends. Daily activities becoming difficult. Walking, getting up out of bed, laborsome, showering, cooking. You don't have the stamina like you used to. And one of the cruelest parts, chronic illness grief isn't just one time. It's not like you're like, oh, okay, I have chronic illness, let me grieve it, blah, blah, blah. Nope, it's not. Grieve it, process it, glow up, become inspirational, monetize the lesson, right? No, it's not your look at me 2 years ago. It is a roller coaster and it comes in waves. It shows up when you see old photos, when someone says you look great and you want to scream because looking great is not the same thing as feeling functional. Or you have, like, if you have lipedema, oh, you have a cute shape. Well, yeah, maybe, but I have a lot of pain. I can't really walk, and my body doesn't act and respond like it used to. Or if you have MCAS, like, you can't go indulge in things because you'll pay for it, right? If you have hypermobility, end of range, probably 99.9% is going to make you go into a flare that you didn't know about, right? Pushing harder to get these things done, definitely going to flare. If you have ME slash chronic fatigue syndrome, then definitely exertion, doing harder is going to throw you back, right? So all of these things could be frustrating and pot sometimes. Putting my hands over my head during my shower makes me need to lay down for 2 hours, right? Other times I'm cool. So it just really depends, and you can't anticipate it, unfortunately. You can kind of start to read your body more, but sometimes you're feeling like, oh yeah, it's on, and then it's totally off. You know, it's that trying to do something normal and your body says, that's cute. No, thank you. And if you're feeling tired, sad, angry, numb, jealous of your past self, you need to hear this. You're not broken. You're not failing. You are just grieving, and allow the grief to come through. Grief is not a weakness. It's our human response to loss. Sometimes you even grieve when you get things you want, right? Any change doesn't have to be a negative change. It could be a positive change. Change, we don't honor our changes enough. We don't honor the season changes. We don't honor our cycle changes. We don't honor our perception of ourselves and the feelings of how we have about ourselves. There's not like a thing in society where it's like, oh, yeah, I'm feeling a little down. I used to be able to, I can't. Okay, guys, let's go. I'm going to go grieve for a while. And people are like, oh, cool. Yeah, that's perfect. They're like, huh? You don't understand it. They don't understand it. And again, I want to reiterate, it is not a weakness. It's a human response to loss, and it needs its space. It needs its time. It needs its recognition to really help you navigate this. Because if you're not dancing with your grief in a way, or even recognizing, then let me tell you, sometimes it'll come down like a ton of bricks on you. And I don't want that for anyone. I mean, as much as I knew this as a psychotherapist, working with people's bodies, as a Pilates instructor, Nidra instructor, a love coach, relationship coach, I work in the spiritual realms and energetic work, all of these things. As much as I know it, when you're in it, it's hard to give yourself permission because you just want to get better. You just want to get past it. I just want to see, like, how can I get maybe back or somewhat to where I feel a normal sense of myself. And when I've rushed through, bypassed, or haven't wanted to grieve, then eventually I will grieve. And it's just a little bit harder when I've given myself time to look at transitions, to really kind of, if I'm feeling bummed out that I'm in a flare again, or if I have to cancel plans again, then I give myself a little bit of time to grieve, whether it's an aid with a song or just some silence or put on a show or something that I know is going to allow me to cry and just get some of these feelings out. They're supportive because grief can feel so intense, but when you understand the mechanics, you really stop blaming yourself as a character flaw. And that's what I really want to talk to you, is like really giving yourself permission to grieve.
Now it's time for the connective thread, where the story meets the science.
You know what's wild? Most people are still overpaying for car insurance just because it's a pain to switch. That's why there's Jerry. Jerry's the only app that compares rates from over 50 insurers in minutes and helps you switch fast with no spam calls or hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Before you renew your car insurance policy, do yourself a favor. Download the Jerry app or head to jerry.ai/Libsyn. That's JERRY.ai/LIBSYN.
So let's talk about some of this sciencey stuff. Your nervous system is built to seek predictability and safety. Bottom line, first and foremost, keep you safe, keep you alive. When life is predictable, your system can relax. When life is unpredictable, your system starts scanning for danger. And for most of us with chronic illness bodies, our bodies are kind of tried to catch up. Everything's in overdrive for whatever reason. Your mast cells kind of went haywire. They're always searching. So that survival thing is flipped on constantly. Even when you rest, it's constant because your body's trying to survive. It's trying to figure things out, right? Even you're not in imminent danger. You're not falling over a cliff. There's not something coming at you, but internally, your body is already geared up to the highest point. So you add the unpredictability as well, and then you're like, oh, what's going on? And your symptoms vary day to day. You may feel great one day, in bed all day the next, right? You can explain it to your family, your partners, friends. They understand, but not really. Unfortunately, you really only understand this if you have this experience. People can sympathize, and as much as you can educate them, it doesn't make, if you don't have this, if you're have a normative response with all of your collagen, with all of your things, if you're not in a chronic illness state, then these responses don't really make sense to the mainstream and they don't even make sense to you, right? So your symptoms vary, capacity changes, plans aren't guaranteed, and your body becomes a question mark. So grief isn't just emotional, it's biological because uncertainty is stressful on the nervous system, especially if you've lived through medical dismissal, or it's probably anxiety, or you're just, too sensitive, etc., carousel, or having to advocate while symptomatic. That is a lot of energy and stressful. That kind of experience can make your system more vigilant, more on, more braced. Not because you're dramatic, but because you've had to survive through so much uncertainty, actually, too much uncertainty. And then there's the identity. If you were the strong one, the reliable one, the productive one, the fun one, the athletic one, the caretaker, the one who can handle anything, chronic illness can force that identity update you did not request. So you're not just grieving your physical ability, you're grieving who you thought you'd be, what you thought your life would look like, what you assumed was guaranteed, the version of you who didn't have to negotiate with her body all day. And here's the connective thread I want you to hold on to. Grief is not the opposite of healing. Grief is a part of making room for your real life. You don't get over this. You learn how to carry it without it swallowing you whole. Now, let's make this practical because I don't want to be leaving here with a beautiful quote, no tools, but if you really just need to hear that all of these things that you thought you were, or you did all of these things and you ended up here, give yourself permission to grieve. If you feel like a burden to your family, if you feel like you've let yourself down, permission to grieve. Now let's get into the practical value. The chronic illness grief toolkit. I don't know why I've been doing these toolkits for the last few episodes, but here I am. And you can call it whatever you want. First, name it. Name the exact loss because vague grief turns into self-hate. It could just be like, oh, you're just compiling all these things. And when you're in chronic pain, it's hard to see sometimes yourself clearly in the past. A lot of times you exaggerate like what you could be doing or what you should be doing, right? So just name it. So if it's like, for example, I was chatting with one of my girlfriends. We lived in Chicago together. I ran the marathon. We worked out every day. We had this activity where like I went to school. I saw 10 clients a day for Pilates. I did therapy clients. I still worked out, still went out with her, had tons of fun, right? I would still crash in between. I still had some stomach issues, but they were not like this at all. And we were really looking like I never thought because I always ate really well, healthy, 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 worked out, moved, took care of my mental illness, went to chiropractors, acupunctures, made sure I was always trying to get my body in the optimal shape, my mental body. I meditated, my spiritual self, everything. I thought I was like, okay, I'm on lockdown. This feels good for me. I never pictured in a billion years that I would end up this sick and this debilitated and having to go to Germany to get lipedema reduction surgery. I could have never thought of that. So I have quite a few of these that I want to just be specific about when I grieve, right? And when grief gets blurry, it turns into like an I'm failing, right? So that's why I'd be specific about, but I did this, I can't do this anymore. Grieve that. So try finishing the sentence. I'm grieving my fill in the blank. Here's some examples. My morning energy, my ability to make plans without consequences, my old confidence, the ease I used to have in my body, my social life, my sex life, my career pace, my interactions with my children, my relationship with food, my ability to travel, to work out, to stay out late, the version of me who didn't have to think this hard, because specific grief moves and vague grief just kind of sticks sometimes. So, and you can also, if you can't think of anything or don't want to because it's too overwhelming, just go, I grieve the things that are specifically on my heart that I can't name. So at least you're giving some specificity to it. And then next, you don't need to do this on paper, but you can, or you could do it through an app, or you can do whatever, or just think about it. You can make a to lives list. And this can be very powerful, but also, if you're not into it, skip it. You can grab a note, right, or your phone. So, first, my old life me could and list these things, right? 3 to 5 things. And then next, put current life me needs 3 to 5 things. So this isn't to depress you, it's to stop you from using old life expectations on your new body. So hopefully that makes sense. So if your old life, you could do all these things, but your new life, you need these. This is not a, oh, I'm less than, oh my God, I need these things now. Why couldn't? It's just like you're honoring the place you are right now. You're not going to the past and being like, oh, dredging that up. Hopefully this could be. And you're not going to the future where you're just wishing things will get better. You're really right now seeing like, okay, this is what I need now. This is the reality of my situation. Because reality helps. Truth helps. It really does kind of make you feel less bad about everything that's going on. Because one of the biggest sources of suffering is asking your current body to perform an old body task or description. And so let's go on to number 3, the wave plan for grief ambushes. Okay, so wave plan, quote unquote. Grief likes to jump out, kind of like a pop-up ad. You're chilling, you think you're okay, and then it's just like for whatever reason you're feeling sad. It's not really a flare, but you're just like in a funk, right? So when this happens, when you can kind of be recognized like, oh yeah, this feels heavy on my heart, feels like I'm telling myself some not truths. Let me see if I need to grieve something. Here it is. Name your grief. If you can't, again, say, I can't name my grief, but I really want to go into specifically what's being heavy on my heart. And eventually it will come, or you'll be able to process and move through the grief feelings, even if you just want to name your intention, right? Intention really is a thing. Then you can anchor with your feet on the floor, your hand on your chest, and just do your deep right breathing. Inhale and exhale longer. It doesn't have to be set, just you want to exhale a little bit longer than your inhale. And then give yourself some kindness. Just say, I'm going to handle myself with kindness. You can have some water. You could sit down. You can cancel some non essential plans or tasks. You can text a safe person, go outside for a few minutes. Because what you're trying to do is not get rid of it. You're trying to have a space where you can invite it more, where you feel safe grieving. Just like anything else, our body feels unsafe, so anything new. And if you have a negative connotation with grief, if you think that's Debbie Downer or sadness, just get over it, buck up, all of these things that are colloquialisms in our world that don't give us the space to grieve, that's what you want to create a ritual about. You're not trying to get rid of it. You're just trying to feel it and let it pass. And I've had several spiritual mentors in my life, and I've done a month of silence, and I've done hours of meditation a day, and et cetera, et cetera. And the truth of all of that, and even in my graduate degree about movement and emotions and feeling and trauma, et cetera, when you avoid feeling stuff, it gets bigger and it feels like it's going to overtake you. And when you actually create some space and some distance as much as you need to, but give yourself that emotion, some, especially grief, the space it needs, it really takes 3 to 5 minutes. Processing emotions are like within 30 seconds if you really feel them. So there's lots of studies on that. But in practice, if you feel you're going to be like, oh my God, if I go down this grief hole, I'm never coming out, man. You think I'm bad now? I'm never coming back. Set a timer for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and just allow yourself to feel sad, feel your grief, to think about whatever. And then once the timer goes, then you're like, okay, I'm not going to think about it. And then when it waves, because it'll wave again, set your timer. Because when you do this, you feel more energized afterwards. Not always, but 99% of the time you do. And try, if you can, stop interpreting your symptoms as personal failure. And that's a hard one. I mean, I know I have done it so much. I'm getting better at my mental capacity to check that one, but it's sneaky because when your flare happens, your brain goes, oh, I'm useless. It happened again. What the F is wrong with me? What did I do? And again, it's unpredictable. So don't try to predict it. Don't try to control it. Just when it happens, give yourself some pause to be where you're at. Try not to force yourself to do anything other than be with it. And then if grief and sadness comes up, try to see how much space you can give to that. And again, set a timer if it scares you, 30 seconds. But I would say 5 minutes just to see what rolls through. And you could try this reframe if you ever kind of go into, oh, I'm useless. Remember, first thing, go no. Then say, my body's having a limit day. My system needs a little less input. This is information, is not my identity. And you can be disappointed, like, of course, but don't let it be condemning to yourself, cruel. You can't condemn yourself out of this chronic illness. You can't do any of that. So the biggest surrender you can is surrender to, like, okay, I have this, and then allow the moment to change each moment other than, oh my God, if I surrender this, I'm never going to get better. No, if you surrender to us, you're recognizing what your body needs now, and that also will change. And then the last is to look at how you can build a soft identity. So what does that mean? Chronic illness can make you feel like your identity got repossessed, like it just got taken away from you, right? So try to see if you can rebuild with what is still true about you, your true essence, your lovingness. You're responsible. You do have a huge capacity to help others, to do things. And that means you have a huge capacity to be with your chronic illness in a new way and allow your body the rest it needs to help start to figure out ways to heal, right? Because all of those strengths that you had from your past identity, you still have them. It's just now you have to apply them differently and they show up differently. Their actions and your behaviors, the doingness of your being has changed, not your being. And you can write some I am statements if that helps, or just say that out loud. I am someone that notices beauty. I am someone who tells the truth. I'm someone who loves deeply. I'm someone who keeps showing up. I'm someone who adapts. Remember, you're not your stamina, you're a whole person. So you can be all these beautiful things you always were. That's who you are. Just your body needs a different way to be treated, and grieving helps.
Mythbuster. Less hype, more help.
Myth 1. Acceptance means you've stopped feeling sad. No, not really. Not at all. Acceptance and forgiveness are linked together. So if you're on a spiritual path, like forgiving yourself every moment, even if you don't have a chronic illness, that actually frees you. And that's acceptance. Acceptance isn't like a acquiescing or like, ugh, like, oh, I guess if I accept it, then I lose. No, no, no. It means you just stop arguing with reality and your feelings can still come through, right? Myth number two, if I grieve, I'll get stuck there. Actually, what keeps people stuck is pretending they're fine. Grief moves when it's allowed. So if you think of, you don't have a lot of energy anyway, right? And grief is taking some space up inside your body and your emotions, and you're taking some energy to not deal with it. At the moment it moves and lets out, then you have more room. You have more space. So just think of it that like all emotions need the emotion is in there, feelings, whatever you want to call it, kind of the same thing. I mean, we split hairs in the psychology world and this and that. But if there's something you need to feel, if you give yourself the structure of I am safe, it is safe for me to feel this emotion right now. Set a timer, give it limits, make sure you feel good, and then start to feel the emotion, then it will move. Sometimes you have to go back and do it again. Sometimes it's just really, and then that energy moves and then it'll circle back, but maybe it won't circle back for a few days or a month or 6 months, right? Depending on what it is. And then myth number three, other people have it worse, so I shouldn't feel this way. Okay, first, pain is in competition, right? Whether you have chronic illness, cancer, this, that, whatever, like don't go comparing your issues to other people. Your pain and how you feel about your body is yours and it's justified and it needs recognition. Your experience matters. Minimizing it sometimes is a mental gyration, right? It does kind of help. Like, okay, well, all things considered, maybe I can go do this. But as a general rule, no, there's not different levels of pain and one is better than the other. If you're in pain, whether it's emotional pain, physical pain, etc., you're in pain. Honor that and see what you need and your body needs and your psyche needs in order to move with the pain. And last, myth number four, I should be over this by now. And this is a big one. Like, I figure, oh, I've done for me, like, I've done all these things, blah, blah, blah. Why isn't it changing? And once I gave that up and just did the things and tried to be like, okay, man, if I'm doing these 50 things about my health and they're all supposed to work, my timing isn't always the timing my body needs. I'm an impatient person, so I want it done now. But I have seen since my surgery that all the things that I did to set myself up actually did help. At the time when I was going through some days, I'm like, "Ugh, I'm wasting money. I'm doing these things. I'm such a burden." But no, I shouldn't be over this by now. This is just how my body is. I need to meet it where it's at because chronic illness, grief isn't linear. It's responsive. New losses bring new waves. New insights bring some things to grieve. Changes bring a opportunity to feel sad, to grieve, and then allow other emotions that you would like to feel more like joy, happiness, contentment, love to come through.
Feel good flow time, micro moves, macro reliefs. Let's breathe together.
So let's do a tiny practice that doesn't try to fix you. It just tries to help you feel less alone in your body. When you're safe, put yourself in a safe space and then say to yourself, I'm safe. Place a hand on your heart and belly. And what I always love to do, breathing, simple. You're in this thing. You could feel the safety under the support of your bed or your chair, right? Inhale slow, exhale elongated. And then you can just say, today I'm grieving whatever it is. Be specific. My energy, my body shape, my freedom, my confidence, my social life, my future plans. And then say to yourself, today I can offer myself Permission, rest, a gentle walk, a warm shower, a nap without guilt, asking for help, not explaining, canceling if I need to, sending that, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do that text, saying no, saying yes to things, right? Whatever it is, simple. And then one more long exhale and see if you can let this land. You don't have to love your reality to belong in it, right? If you're not, it's not perfect, it's not like you reject, reject, reject. No. Honor where you are, allow yourself some time and space, give yourself permission to be here, safe, and feel, and then see how it carries you through.
This is shared education and lived experience, not medical advice, and is not meant to be. Check in with your body, check in with your clinician, and find out what fits your life.
So if you needed permission to grieve without making yourself wrong, this episode was for you. Again, there's nothing wrong with you. You've been living in a body that just has been not understood by conventional methods, right? If this episode helped, share it with a friend. So until next time, love, take the pressure off, take some softness back, and thank you always for listening.
You've been listening to Dear Body, I'm Listening. Now it's time to remember to be gentle with your capacity, meet yourself where you are, and if this has helped, send it to a friend who also needs a soft reminder and a gentle place to land. If this episode made you feel even more seen, brought you clarity, or reminded you that you're not alone, please take a moment to rate, review, and send it to someone who needs that same reminder. You can find more tools, blog posts, and support over at donnapiper.com. And hey, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Got a question for me? Every month I do a listener coaching episode, and I'd love to hear from you. Send your questions, stories, or flare-up confessions to donna@donnapiper.com. And you just might hear your answer on the show. Until next time, dear body, I'm listening, and I am so glad that you are here.